Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with a three-time and current world champion and widely considered to be the greatest player of all time, the Zerg in the red, the finisher. It's Serral, facing off against the rank 1 Protoss in the world, not the one we deserve, but the one we need right now in the blue, a herO, in a best-of-7 Protoss versus Zerg Grand Finals to the $20,000 Maestros of the game tournament. And before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, or maybe even subscribe. Let me go to the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? Yeah, it's them again. 1,877 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better than the very first probe being chased by the Zerglings, persecuted for its crimes, trespassing, theft of minerals, and of course, being Protoss. But the Adept is going to try to turn the tables, and one Zergling is taken out already. And because that probe blocked the initial base, yeah, add it to the list. It makes it a little bit easier to get the damage done early, but Serral slips in with a couple lings. He chased the probe all the way home, and going to try to finish it off there. Another Zergling. And herO, with two probes, a sudden stub toe away from death, will survive and take out both lings. And thankfully, probes don't have toes. At least last I checked. You can find more on my Dronely fans. But one of the last, if not the last tournament on the old patch. This wasn't played so long ago. But because most of the original parts of the tournament were held on the previous 12-worker patch, they decided to play the playoffs on it as well. So that means Warp Gate is still free. Queens, well, hatcheries still cost 275 minerals. And the mothership still has a little bit of extra HP. Well, shields. So, the Oracle and the Adepts, just a mainstay no matter what. The Queens will politely yet firmly ask them to leave. herO has never been known to be deterred so easily. Yep, that's a hatchery. Wait, he actually caught the creep tuber with it. Surprisingly, doesn't decide to complete the shade into the main. Suspecting the Zerglings, and for good reason. Serral, only 37 drones against herO's 40 probes so far, just taking a third base because having an Oracle is usually enough to defend against infinity Zerglings with energy recharge. Now, the Adepts shading into the main, the Zerglings, making it less than likely they'll survive to complete the shade, but that's why, of course, they cancel at the last moment. What? Hiding on the other side of the pillar here on Verdant Temple. Lair begins. Did herO catch a glimpse? He did not. Twilight and Forge on the way. So, a relatively standard follow-up. The Twilight and Forge are to unlock, well, usually it's Blink Stalkers. It's not always Blink Stalkers. herO has some of the most strategic variety. He's even got Moracles in production. 3 in total. And the Triumvirate is enough. The Oracles pretty much deny any attempts at early aggression that don't involve queens in uncomfortable places. So unless you're willing to walk them across, or taxi, or create a creep highway, there's no reliable anti-air until air tech is done. And even before it, the queens... Actually, 3 Oracles against 3 queens without a spore. If there's no transfuse, the Oracles win. But herO's not going to risk it. This wall-off is... a Templar Archive starts, and that's the thing about the Twilight Council. It unlocks quite a shrubbery in the tech tree. You've got Charge, Blink, Glaives, Templar Archives, Dark Shrine, upgrades. About half the tech tree. It's 7 drones dead to the Oracles as the Queens continue to shimmy around, and maybe the knitting needle's just not quite enough. Infestation Pit is already on the way. Serral finally scraping together 62 drones. And, Swarm Host? You can't just be going to Hive. There's no... I guess Infestors? herO being remarkably... I would say passive, but Oracles are never passive. But the simple fact is, he's not angling to attack quite yet. Getting a Robo, getting a Storm this early on? There's no intention of moving across the map, but instead making sure he doesn't die to any sort of counterattack. The Infestation Pit is completed for Serral. The Adepts, oh sure, why not? Shades in. Gonna get a few more drones. 4, 5. The Zerglings will get a full surround, but Swarm Hosts Sir Richard and his band of Swarm Host brethren. Not an accident like so many times Zerg players will have, as the Swarm Host is by default on the A key on your larva, which is why occasionally you'll get an accidental Swarm Host when players are playing it, you know, pretty fast. Serral at 560 APM. Quite a pace for him. 10 Swarm Hosts in production. Serral gonna try a... I don't know if I've ever seen, at least recently, Swarm Hosts used, but this map has a very close air distance with the Swarm Hosts, even without a Nidus. They're usually requiring of the Nidus. But the Oracle's gonna spot the Swarm Hosts, and the Queens... This is restricted lair space! I don't... Susan, we haven't controlled any airspace for, like, 20 years. Where has the time gone, Brenda? We don't have chrono boost, so... But the queens are a Swarm Host queen timing. The brood mothers and fathers here, as the rest of the army is to the north side. The Swarm Hosts will unleash on the Nexus. herO was paying attention, and the Oracles will actually just burn through it. The Storms melting the Roaches rather quickly will force him back at the Oracle. He loses 12 probes, which is certainly not great. The charge lots over to the right side. Swarm Hosts and Queens ambling about down the center. A not exactly agile unit composition on either side. Both of them quite difficult to maneuver. Now, the Queens will get one of the Oracles finally, as he did not expect this army to be right here, and right now, and right here, and right now. But Storms are available. He's still got 3 Oracles back at home. An Archon on the way. Pre-fires the Pulsar beams. Gonna try to get a surround on the Archon. It doesn't even kill it. The overwhelming power is more than enough. And guess what? A Storm drop, and the drones will evaporate. Serral down to 60. And look at the supply. And now ignore it, because those Swarm Hosts are only useful about a third of the time. And that much is arguable with how it's going so far. The Queen's still trying to get things done, but Serral, until the Swarm Hosts come off cooldown, he's fighting with a hand tied behind his back. And right now, even 2 hands might not be enough to handle herO. The Roaches melting away, the Immortals holding it down. And there's not so many Swarm... He's maneuvering the Templar. He does have the Warp Prism. Oracle overhead. More Storms. Locust wading through it. Might be able to get to the natural, but again, Serral is not focusing on the army itself. The charge lots are chasing down the reinforcements. Serral with the mass roaches. Again, the Oracles will be needed to save the day. The charge lots are chopping through one of the hatcheries, and Serral has attempted for the last several minutes to destroy the Nexus at the natural, and the charge lots are easily distracted. The squirrels of the Protoss army. He's going to charge right back. It appears he charges too much. And Serral back down to 3 bases. herO still there. Not sure where he would expand next. I guess he could take the worker-only path, but the closer herO gets to 200... Oh, Category 5 Storms. As he just washes over the Swarm Host over to the left side. herO has just ignored... He hasn't ignored them, but he's mitigated the Swarm Host damage so effectively. But he can't any longer. He has nothing here to defend. He's going to lose more probes. But instead, when he's doing something crazy, just go kill him, the Swarm Host! Oh, no! It's a disaster! The Swarm Host will be annihilated. The Warp Prism trying to stay alive. It will do so. The Archons are punching through. The Warp Prism waiting for an opportunity to warp in, but does he even need it? The Archons are just so much damage. And the Immortals to back it up. Finds an opportunity for the charge lots. A few more swinging in. Corrosive Bile spewing up like an unruly frat party, but it's not going to be enough. The Roaches and... I say it's not going to be enough, but honestly, there's still a lot of Roaches left over. I really thought that herO had enough to break through, but now, well, he's juggling the Immortals. But instead of Cirque du Soleil, it seems a little bit more like a clown feat. What? herO giveth and herO taketh away. 2 Immortals. Loses 1. Okay, wait. I was so convinced. And look at me. Egg upon my face. Calls should not have been made. What? Wait, you could walk home, and it was spotted. Like, what does herO even have? He has 8 High Templar, a Warp Prism, and an Immortal. Because of course he does. Like, is the Storm enough? Not if he loses several Templar before casting it. The storm damage does not stack, but he can cover most of a Stormfront here. Well, herO lost everything, which is usually not conducive to being in a good position, I will say. That's my professional analysis of 16 years of this game. And the Corrosive Bile to zone out the High Templar. He has literally no other units here. The Charizard's 11 probes dead. The probes just transferring. There is no fourth base. It's just the Templar. herO has nothing left.
He's dead, Jim.
Yeah, he's dead, right? Like, he has 1/3 the supply, and it's not Swarm Hosts. Sure, the Swarm Hosts are dead. He just kind of has nothing. Looks back at home and realizes there's pretty much no home to go back to. Of course, herO fights until the... Wait. What? A single Swarm Host. Did it survive the Purge? Or is it the next generation? I believe it's the only survivor, maybe, of the initial engagement. Serral has Burrow, technically. And that's 2 Gs. It's over. The game kind of just ends. And with that, Serral survives through the tumultuous waters and the overwhelming storm. The Swarm Hosts did their job of keeping herO busy and then forcing the issue. Because by the time herO moved out, the Swarm Hosts were able to move in and destroy the third. Once the Oracles were pulled away. Well, quite a dramatic game, number 1. herO getting caught a little off guard, but Serral adapting quickly, as you might expect from the best Zerg and best player in the world. But can he continue his efforts in game number 2? Heading into 10,000 feet. And I don't know if I mentioned it. Jimmy should have pointed it out, but of course... This is a bracket reset finals. So Serral went through the playoffs undefeated, which means he never dropped to the loser bracket. He never had to fight his way back. And he's the reason why herO, on the other hand, has lost a match. A little bit of a spoiler, obviously. But Serral must only win this best of 7. I know, crazy. But herO, on the other hand, must win a best of 7 against Serral, and then that will reset the bracket, since both of them have lost a match. And then we'll have a best of 3 to determine. Now, you might have noticed that sort of format in Home Story Cup as well. Personally, I do think it's a lot more fair than just slapping an extra game on whoever came from the winner's bracket. I would love if tournaments did a best of 9 and then just gave the 1-game advantage to the winner's bracket. But I digress, all right? If you're putting on the tournament, you get to decide. But personally, I do prefer just the single series. But the way things are going, in very herO fashion, I do think that most players would have fallen apart there. Serral just... He lost so many battles, but he won the war. As... Well, that's another very common story when Serral's involved. It just feels like he's taking punches, he's rolling with it across the field, and then suddenly his opponent has half the supply and no economy. It just kind of ends. The probe, bloodthirsty. Not sure how it would have that feeling in the first place, as Protoss don't have mouths, but how else do they hold the minerals? Magnets. How do they work? No, the Zerglings. Nibbling on the probe. I do think the Swarm Hose build was pretty specific to Verdant Temple, which is a map, I believe, only really used in specific tournaments, not part of either map pool, the previous or the current. So, in that specific setup, with the natural being so exposed to Swarm Hosts or siege units, is why Serral probably broke that out. Now, honestly, I love having that sort of build as your Game 1 build as well. He may have picked that map as Game 1 specifically, because now that's in the back of your mind, assuming herO has object permanence. Is it going to be Swarm Hosts again? I do think the Oracles... Overlord taken out unceremoniously, just I kind of neglected to mention that a Stalker walked across the map and just killed an Overlord on Serral's side. And now there's a Phoenix killing an Overlord on hero's side. Overlords in general just not having a good time right now. More like no Overlords. I'm here all night. If you pause the video and just leave it open. After you like and subscribe. I successfully distracted myself, though. But the strategic choice to go for that sort of off-meta build in game number 1, I think a strong one. Then it's hard to fault Serral for his strategies almost ever. The Oracle just... Hey! No, this is... You can't do that! They just... Look, you're flying again, Brent. Oh, shut up, Karen. Sorry, I blacked out for a moment. He did a rug pull build where you use the Phoenix to just pick up a queen, and if they don't have any extras in position, you can just get your entire mineral line gutted. In this case, it was just the self-esteem in 4 drones. But behind it, Glaive Adepts. A single Oracle, that one Phoenix. He's getting a third, but I feel like herO is mostly showing this so Serral will get lulled into a false sense of security. But Serral has a much better read on this than I expected. There's a Baneling nest already on the way, and you don't just go Banelings for the fun of it. All right, as much as busting makes people feel good, it's not something you can rely on. It's a lot of Vespene gas to invest, both in the Baneling nest and the Banelings themselves. So if he didn't, he has to think this is either Charge Lots or Adept Glaives. He clearly is anticipating it. So far, Serral reading herO like a particularly open book, probably with a lot of pictures and finger paints. Or ketchup smudges. Something insulting. Hydra's Den is on the way. And so herO, he does have Glaive Adepts. All right, the Shady Bunch is, well, 50 Shades with Glaives coming together. He's denied a lot of the scouting. And the Zerglings, that is all of Serral's Zerglings. So he may have got the Baneling nest, but he doesn't have any Banelings. This kind of random adept timing. He's trying to build the wall, but no, it's not a wall. They slip through. Finally, Serral feels the herO experience on walling off, and the Adepts just assassinate 2 of the queens, slicing through the Zerglings with ease. And suddenly, this has gone from a kerfuffle to quite a quandary. Even a quagmire at this point, as the Adepts are in the base, and there's no getting them out easily. The Banelings are on the way, but already 6 drones dead, and just dealing with the Adepts in the first place, he recalls some, gets another kill. There is a 4th base. The Banelings have been revealed. He may just leave with these Adepts, which the Oracle is coming to protect them from persecution. The Stalkers as well. He has Blink and +1 on the way. Okay. Well, we're gonna use the Revelation to help clear up the creep tumors. And herO with a smattering of almost random seeming units. A bunch of Adepts, some Stalkers. He picks up one of the queens. There and back again. A relatively expected journey. But the Banelings, the Stalker's just gonna knock out the queen that the Phoenix was alley-ooping there. The Adept shaded to the main, and will just die to the Banelings incredibly efficiently. So that went poorly. Blink is not done. He's gonna kill some of the drones. herO has a worker lead. He's at 69, which is a very nice lead at this stage of the game, compared to the 63 Serral has. Though 4 bases will help out significantly. Hydra speed is about to go. Oh, sure. A fleet beacon is on the way, because why not? I assume for a mothership, as he's not adding extra stargates, just normie gates, as no one calls them. The Hydras, he knows the Zerglings could really muck up the potential target fire, but still trying to trade out. 1 Hydra, 2 Hydra, red Hydra, blue Stalker. Doesn't really follow through there, but the Blink sliding away. Bleeding Stalkers out, but the Hydras trying to chase. herO just needs to survive the counterattack, though. But that's looking less and less plausible as the Stalker count gets whittled down. herO's at 7 gates, adding some more on. The fleet beacon is about to complete. But right now, he went for Hydra speed first. instead of Hydra range, which means it's actually in a bit of an awkward spot. More Hydras caught. The Zerglings working on the Nexus in the top right corner. Oracle lights up. Nexus not canceled because herO commits and was probably looking the other way, but honestly, not that huge a deal. Though not having a 4th base does... Okay, it's a pretty big deal. It's a medium-sized deal. And that's perfectly fine, all right? It's about how you use your deal, not about the size of it. Mothership on the way. Oracle knocked out of the sky as it strays a little bit too close to the Hydras that he probably could have predicted were there, but failed to. It's 20s. herO ends up with the most, like, random seeming unit. I guess 20 Stalkers and 1 Phoenix is not the most random unit composition. But the production tab is certainly filling in a bit more variety. Warping in charge lots, another Oracle, plus 2 ground weapons, and of course, a Mothership is halfway done. The Phoenix. But a single... Even... So. Okay, calm down. The Mothership existing. So, it wasn't too... In case you're wondering why the Mothership is so strong, it isn't just the abilities, like the ability to cloak, the time warp for controlling the fight, but the Mothership, a couple years ago, was changed to have way more beams. And you might be like, okay, Beamer. No, that matters. The Mothership can attack up to 4 targets at once, which makes it actually very effective at clearing units. Before, it could attack 1 target with multiple beams, but now it can potentially split those beams to multiple targets, which helps a lot with clearing Zerglings and Hydralisks. That is why the Mothership, besides the fact it has the threat of cloaking and the mass recall, it's just such a threat. And since it can't be abducted, since it has approximately half the mass of your own mother, there's no easy way to deal with it, especially without a Spire. So the Hydras and Lings are easily going to clean up the Stalkers. Or are they? As the Mothership has arrived, cloaking is used, and what you can't see, you can't shoot. The Stalker's straight out of cloaking range, but Mama's home. The time warp to control side of the fight, taking so much damage. There's the Overseer. He targets it down. And again, trying to target the Mothership, but the damage is already done. Look at the supply. The Mothership racking up the kills. Those beams doing so well. The cloak runs out, and most of the Stalkers have had their shields stripped away. And now, look at the beams! Oh my! The Mothership at half HP. The Baneling's coming in. 15 kills. Half HP. 0 fucks. 2 Gs. herO ties things up with the Mothership leading the way with quite a circuitous build. He went from Adept Glaives to Stalkers, back into the sky after the Phoenix Oracle, Mothership, Tempest, Blink Stalkers, throw in a few extra charge lots for flavor, and baby, you got a stew going. So Serral's gonna have to stew on that one for a while, as game number 2 turns the tables and herO is on the board. It's so hard when you deal with... So, if the Glaive Adepts live, that's the thing about Banelings as well. The investment in Banelings is a great direct counter to Adept Glaives. But it slows down everything else. And I think that was the issue at the end of the day, as Serral got too caught up on dealing with what's happening now instead of what's happening next. But speaking of next, is game number 3. herO deciding to wall off... Well, not to wall off. We're on Exarch, a 4-player map. I've seen herO do this before, and I think there is a method to the madness, believe it or not. On 4-player maps, he is so suspicious of an early pull, of like a drone rush, which Serral has done before against herO to great effect, that he'd rather just defend his main... Is this Nexus first? Wait, what? Are you allowed to do that? Serral is going for a pull first. No, not particularly early. Remember, we're on the 12-worker start still for this tournament. And to be honest, Serral's talked about it, herO's talked about it. The 8-worker start on the new patch, for Protoss versus Zerg especially, really just feels like the same game, but it takes about 45 more seconds of filling time for casters at the beginning. as almost everyone is going for the same style. Except maybe with a little bit more focus on Sky Toss. And as we can tell here, it's not like we're shying away from the Sky Toss idea. So, herO scouted far. He's just assuming Serral would have expanded, which is a pretty safe assumption. But the timing of the hatchery should be a pretty important giveaway. And he's just going to go into the main. He'll be able to see... What do you do? Why are you dodging? Wait, what is Serral doing? He's gonna go through the mineral wall to try to get a third. Wait, oh, that's gonna take forever. Oh my. So there's a mineral wall to a third base here, but it takes 8 trips? I believe they're 40 minerals apiece, something like that. So there's a zealot on the way. He knows it's going to be Zergling speed. herO's gone for 2 gates. Which means, well, okay. I'm not going to pretend like I know how this plays out. This is a pretty bespoke situation. 1, on this map. 2, herO went Nexus first. But he has 2 gates being chronoed early. And he has more chrono because he has 2 Nexi. Oh my god, Serral's going to do the mineral trick. Okay, so how this works is when you mine some minerals, and you've got them in your drone's mouth. Well, there's no way to transmute those minerals into anything else until you return them. Unless you go into the gas geyser, which resets it. So the irony of all this is Serral could just walk in the front door because herO is not walled off. Serral is over here, like, swishing his sword about, transferring his drone minerals. This is like 10%, over 10% of his economy is doing this tomfoolery here. He could just walk in. Just the door is open. Just come on in. All of this. Oh, well, he may just win the game. There is that. The Adepts, there are 4 Adepts. If he had gotten in immediately, well, okay. The Adepts get into the main. He's going to lose a lot of probes. But herO still has 23. He's building an Oracle. Serral over here with the 200 IQ build, and herO with the 20 IQ defense is somehow... This is like needing a sword to get through an energy shield because projectiles are too fast, sort of thing. But, well, the Oracle's out, which may be enough. The Adept, yep, GG. herO defends the attack by not defending anything. herO's laissez-faire, walls are for nerds sort of defense completely counteracted Serral's bigliest brain strategy. So he was trying to get through the mineral wall by transferring minerals into gas and then back so he could continue mining it. Meanwhile, herO just built a depths. That's quite an own goal. Though, in Serral's defense, he didn't expect herO not to have one. So, herO takes the lead. Yeah. Serral clearly has something prepared on all these alternative maps. Is it working? Kind of. Is it needed? That's much more debatable. But we'll see. As we head into game number 4. We're on Blackrock, our Warcraft-themed map, with plenty of interesting terrain and creative strategies available. Serral outplaying himself by a pretty huge margin in the pre... I wish I had a clip of his face at that moment when he realized he could just walk in. I feel like that's on Serral. You didn't even check if herO had a wall. It's herO. But, fool me once, and I won't get fooled again. What is this? Why is your pylon there? Crouching probe, hidden pylon. Another herO special. Is this a Stargate? It is now. Of course, the Overlord No. Just hanging out. As it does. Going to see that warp gate was slightly delayed, which is a tell on this patch. In the new patch with warp gate taking less of a always like a constant role, it's less of a tell, but on the previous patch and for many years, Protoss players, if they delay warp gates because they're going for a quick Stargate, herO is trying to bait in Zerglings. He sent out a shade when the Overlord could see it, and then canceled the shade in an attempt to shut down any Zerglings that counterattacked. But Serral only has 2 lings back at home. He's not calling the bluff. The Overlord just gliding in. I'm not even... This is going to save like 10 seconds. Maybe. Then again, at this level, those 10 seconds very much matter. And the Oracle getting there marginally quicker. I think the Spore Car is already going to be ready. But the Adepts will shade through. Gets one. Make that 2. And while the Spore is completed, 3 drones dead to the Adepts. The Queen. Chicanerous and deplorable. What? What was that, Brenda? Oh, shut up, Suzanne. I don't know. No, it's Susan. Whatever, Susan. Sorry. Hive mind, Does Serral know this is a... He is scouting. He knows. Wow. And he's gonna find it. Serral knows the exact timing an Oracle comes in. He's like, that was 6 seconds too early. There must be something. Shenanigans are afoot. Well, at least a flight. But the second Oracle, and that's enough to protect the pylon. Not that it's a huge deal, but wow, the Triumvirate has gathered. He will lose this pylon to 4 Zerglings, which is not ideal, but the Treacles and the Queens, if you don't have the energy, well, okay. Just gonna kind of glide around. Losing the pylon supply blocked herO, which is mildly inconvenient. Have some more on the way. Stargate obviously depowered with that severe lack of pylon nearby. That's how it goes. Pylons are the powerhouse of the Protoss. Overlord's just been hanging out this whole time. Protoss fishing is based on movement, isn't it? Oh. Weird day today. No. Like and subscribe so I can get health insurance. Templar Archives. Charge +1. A classic timing attack build. And now, somewhat ironically, not something classic. Oh, sickest Chrono Boost. A fully wasted Chrono Boost. Oh my. herO Chrono boosting an Immortal out. It will be supply blocked through the entire time. But he's dancing around his Oracles on the other side. The income... Storm is on the way. Serral is going for that Hydraling. Wow. These games have been so hectic that it's been a little bit since we had a relatively... I guess it is only game 4. Game 1 was also kind of macro-oriented, but it was a lot of macaroni and cheese. Revelation. Technically, 3 Oracles can take out the Spore, but with some damage on them already, it's very unlikely that they'll do it very efficiently. Stasis. Could target it. A little bit slow. And catches the Queen on the edge. Might be time for the recall. Nope. Does he not have energy? Oh my god, he doesn't have energy. Too busy chrono boosting supply blocked Immortals. Oh, it's gonna cost him. That's 1. A lot of damage on the second. herO trying to sneak out. And, well, burninating across the country. Loses another one. And only 1 survivor. Serral's up to 85 drones. Which, That's quite an economy. He does not have a baneling nest, so it's just mass Hydra lane. At least for now. herO just slapping together some gates. Pretty wide open main base. The Templar Archive's on the very edge, which might become relevant now that he's getting Overlord speed, which it seems likely that's for Overlord drop here. Something to split that. Yes, 5 Dropper Lords on the way. A bit of a Hydra risk, but he has the economy to replace these units. herO is pinned back on 3 bases. A Warp Prism in the main will drag back some of the Hydras. The Dropper Lords are headed to the other side. What is this army, herO? 7 High Templar, 2 Immortals, half a dozen charge lots. That's about it. A couple of Depths are also in there. Warp Prism off to the left side. I mean, that's a lot of... And he just loses it. The Martyr Prism. And, well... He's over here. Not all heroes wear capes. But heroes do. A Storm will melt through some Zerglings. Serral just trying to bait him out so far. Masterfully done. Don't want to be caught between a rock and a hard place there. I mean, 4/9 of this map, Black Rock, are rocks, or so it feels. So, another Storm. The energy's starting to run dry. Archons, of course, can merge, but he actually manages to jam himself in. Now, those are some big Storms. He's just zoning the entire art. There's another one. He's got 3 or 4 more. Immortals being caught. He's just going to kill the base with some help from the water balloons of the Templar. And the Hydras to the north. He's zoning out. There should be a recall available, but the moment he does so, he's going to lose everything else. But wait, there's more. The reinforcement, he's not going to recall out. He's pushing back in. The Hydras are softened up. Serral, where is your supply? Okay, this time I gotta double check because I've made some bad calls this series so far. Serral's down to 130. He lost the 4th base, and he hasn't really dealt with the core of this army. He's killed no Immortals, which makes them very accurately named. 4 High Templar. The Archons have survived. A fleet beacon is on the way, and another prison. Oh, the rocks! Take it down! And he drops it. The Hydra crushed! The rest of the units kind of shimmy out of the way. But wait, there's more Templar! Another Storm! And worst case scenario, they merge to... Well, I guess worst case scenario, they get pin cushioned by Hydras and die. Which would be pretty bad. There's another base in the back corner. But there's just more Storms! The Rolling Thunder build. As the Storm Hammer drops, the Prism has arrived. Reinforcements here. You can potentially save some of the Archons with it. Does not, as a show of dominance. More Zealots warping in. Immortals finally going down, but the charge lots are going to get in front. And herO is just powering through. This time around, there is no saving grace. This time around, Serral hasn't done the economic damage. This time around, herO will be the one with the supply lead. And this time around, I think hero's going to be going to match point. Unless he somehow botches this. A mothership is on the way. Yeah, there's no, like, it's +2 attack on either side. There's no saving grace here for Serral. It's just a bunch of Hydras still. He's not going to tap out yet. As that's still a lot of Hydras. And that herO could throw away a prism full of full energy High Templar. That is still a possibility, but the Templar are gliding across. Mothership is on the way. The charge lots, I don't even know if that's on the right location, but either way. Slurps up the charge lots, and Serral, he might have similar supply, but just pure Hydra. Oh no! Oh, the rocks! Oh, we forgot about the rocks! Oh, it's a disaster. The Storm, as the Hydra's try. GG! That's it! hero's on match point! Wow! herO with... He shows up, and he stayed in the game to slaughter more drones. I love that. herO stayed in the game an extra 10 seconds for this experience here. And how many opportunities do you get to kill dozens of Serral's drones at once? Sometimes there are entire series that go by without that happening, so... Well... Serral again! 3 in a row. herO, the momentum, just powering through. Now, remember, herO must win a best of 7, which very few people in the history of StarCraft 2 have done against Serral. And then, if he's able to win one more game right now, he must win another best of 3, which if you've already won 4, but that was just straight up macro. That was Serral getting to 80 drones, getting to 200 supply, and being unable to do anything with it. He was setting up for a counterattack, but he underestimated the power of herO's Templar. And now, we go to game number 5. And potentially match point. Wait, no, it is match point. That's how match point works. Jimmy! For some reason, they let herO play on a barcode account in the Grand Finals of a LAN tournament, which feels like... okay. Feels a little weird, but... shout out to Comeback TV, Maestros of the game. Make sure to check them out if you want to support more top-tier community StarCraft 2. I believe they have a Ko-Fi page. I always thought of it as coffee. I'm not sure, but every time I read it, it's Ko-Fi. I can't not hear Ko-Fi. Not important. Jimmy, edit that out. Nobody cares. No, I don't care if you care. It's not mean, it's honest. Sorry. Wow. herO tempted. Like, come on. Come on. He's literally sitting in the... come on, do it, Serral. Do it. He's... oh, come on. He's laser tonguing those minerals. He's inside the mineral patch. You can't do this. He's teasing him. This is... I don't even know if I can show this. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to go in mineral patches like that. Now, there's a reason you go around the outside. Around the outside. Around the outside. Because he could just pull the... like, he could do a mineral drill with the drone. This is a mind game and a half right here. Come on. It's like, come on. Respect me. The drone's finally... no! herO is feeling it. He's feeling things. Which is always true. But I have this... I gotta agree. I have the sneaking suspicion herO enjoys playing this game. Does anyone else enjoy the game when herO's in it? That's not important. Anyone who's not playing, at least. So hopefully you're enjoying. Serral just unable. Even game 1, I'm embarrassed by the missed call. Though to be fair, Swarm Hosts are so rare. Even game 1, it felt like herO was just gonna kind of power through. But then he died. Which herO is... I know, that was some eloquent commentary there. I had to reach deep into the profound depths of my mind. Like a kiddie pool depth. Anyways. But so far, Serral just flabbergasted by the almost haphazard timings that herO has showcased. And clearly grasping at straws at the very least to figure out how to deal with it. So he hasn't... I do think the real turning point was not game 2, but game 3. When Serral attempted the 200 IQ, like, mineral transfer cheese. And then herO just... the door was just open. Like... I can't get over that. A perfect example of overthinking. Well, the Adepts and Oracle on the way, the staple. Shading through, gets 2 drones. Drags the Zergling. Oh! Wait, he missed the shot. But that's 3? Oh, come on, not 4. 3 drones for 2 Adepts, and he keeps the Zerglings back at home. And the Oracle can just fly by. Just gonna ignore the queens. Just so disrespectful. So far, every single Protoss unit, from the probe on up, has just ignored the Zerg units entirely to kill drones. 6 drones dead. The Adepts, the probe itself, the Oracle, just completely ignoring the queens, and the Zerg comes back in for more, maybe regrets that decision. The queens tripping over each other, and will not be able to take it out. The third base, there's an Oracle just hanging out. More Oracles in production, as this is another deplorable strategy from herO. Oracle's just going every which way. Like a 3-way stop there. They all have the right of way at once. Typical. Twilight Forge. There's still no Spore Crawler. But herO not going to risk it. He's going to go for the queen. Just one queen? That's not enough. Yeah, back and forth. There and back again. And there she goes. They got Karen, did you hear? I could hear the silence. Well, that's rude, Brenda. Well, yes, but now the hatchery owner, so the HOA meetings are going to be way quieter now. I feel like that's not true. You just seem to be talking all the time. That's just a matter of opinion, Susan. You're entitled to your opinion. You can be wrong. As a matter of fact, you are. Now you're just being mean. I'm just being honest. We established this. So, herO? What's it going to be this time? A Templar Archives is done. He has not upgraded anything. He's chrono boosting. Okay, I thought he was going to forget the Storm for a moment, but no. Storm has been a constant throughout this series. And Serral seems to be taking more and more damage to it with each game. There's no easy answer to Storm. Not on Lair Tech, which is when Storm is most dangerous. There is just simply no unit that efficiently deals with it, which is why the reason Hydras and Lings are the staple, and not Mutas. Mutas easily countered by the fact the Stargate exists, and you're constantly scouting with the Oracles. Roaches are mediocre at best. They seem to combine well enough with the Swarm hosts, but if they get enough Immortals and Storm itself, they can just melt through. Rushing to Hive is just a recipe for death. Another Queen dead. Hydras, Lings, and Banes. The only strategy that reliably deals with the Blink Stalkers, Charge Lots, and really, it's pretty good against everything. Not particularly great against anything but Blink Stalkers, but it's good enough. And that's what Serral's relying on for now. Not exactly exciting, but effective. Fleet Beacon is on the way, though. As herO again. I feel like he just sets the tone, and it's so in your face that he just kind of intimidates his opponents, including Serral, into playing a more macro game. Like, Serral has a strong opportunity right now if he maxes out and goes, but he can't know. He can't know that herO is teching up to Fleet Beacon. Not easily. You could go for an Overseer. But very actively, herO is denying scouting. He's got Templar. He's got Archons. If you attack into this and fail, you lose the game as Serral. Whereas if you macro up to 80-something drones and get Mass Hydra, there's a good chance you can win a fight and then turn that into a better situation. So that's why Serral is sitting back and defending instead of trying to look for a timing. Despite the fact herO is only now really filling in the more dangerous units. Mothership is on the way. The Mothership has, Oh, Oracle? Yep, those are Hydras. It's just patrolling Oracles all over the place. And it's working out for him. Serral threatening with Hydras. Is there energy recharge? Indeed there is. Uses it. And the Storm softens up many of the Hydras. The mini-map is a mess out here. As Serral has things all over the place right now. condensing on the center base, but the storms condensing even faster into that energy nova that melts through so much Zerg. The Hydra's driven back over to the right flank. The storm softening up down the center. And Serral just, he's got overlords for creep spread. We're being another round. Some of the Hydra's caught by a stasis. But who's the Zerg now? herO dodging back. That Oracle getting a little ahead of itself and now headed to the unit's lost tab. But wait, there's more. Another Oracle knocked out of the sky, but the Charge Lots are chasing. The Zerg Lots here. And the Hydra's kiting back, but the Charge Lot's just chasing him down. The Queen's trying to get involved. The Zergling's out in front, but herO chases him all the way across. And now here's a mothership! Serral. The storms, though, you cannot chase even on creep. And he doesn't have detection, right? He needs overseers. But hero's even on supply. The storms. Excruciating. There's the active cloak. Where's the overseers? There. But if they're not here at the start of the fight, it gets so much easier to get into position. Storms on the Banelings. They finish a little bit too slow. Another storm. He still has a couple left over. Charge Lots. The mothership with all those beams. And there's a GG! And herO wins the first series 4-1 and ties it all up. And what does he do? That's a great question. And then this happened. With Roddy's illustrious commentary.
Keep it here. Damn. But that means we are not done yet. That means we're going to take a little break. And then there will be a best of 3 for all the marbles. Wait. Oh no, they didn't tell him? No. No. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Oh. Yeah.
So herO, I think, forgot in the most herO fashion ever. Forgot that there was a reset match. And you know, if you win a best of 7 against Serral, I think you get a little bit of leeway.
No. Oh no.
But, oh no, indeed. It's a rough one. Oof, he lifted the trophy. I love Serral's face of like,
Keep it here.
what are you doing, Serral? Like,
but that means we are not done yet. That means we're going to take a little break, and then there will be...
That was our break. And now, the Grand Finals. A best of 3. For all the marbles, after herO has already celebrated his victory, clearly thinking that he had won the tournament, or at least forgetting he hadn't. But, in the bottom right, for the best of 3 ace match, the finisher, facing off against the most Protoss, the most herO, in the blue, of course, the smiling assassin. It's herO. That's gonna be a weapons grade oof. Now, to be fair, herO has won more tournaments on this patch, the previous patch to the current one, the 12-worker patch, than everyone else in the world combined, including Serral. From September, Jimmy, do we have the stats? Do we have the numbers? From September or October, I believe, of the patch. To this tournament, here are your stats. herO winning 8 S-tier tournaments. Not herO, including Serral and Clem, winning 7. Another fun fact. herO has not lost a singular finals. If he gets to the finals of a tournament, he wins. And here we are. herO up at 1-0. I think, well, I think we know who the Protoss is now. I'm still, if you're running a tournament, I did mention this actually to him, but don't let your players play on a barcode. They may have had an overlay that made it not matter. So unfortunately, yeah. A barcode used to hide your account because so many players play with the 12 characters of ILLLI. And so on and so forth, that it effectively, to an extent, hides your identity. And I think it's relevant for the very top of the ladder. Like, for players who have a chance to lose to Serral. Of course, if you're at the very top, like Serral, there's literally, like, only 4 players above 6,800 MMR. So it's pretty clear who that Terran, Protoss, or Zerg are. The Terran, it's Clem. The Protoss, believe it or not, also Clem. The Zerg, almost always Serral and occasionally Raider. At least on Europe. But on Korea, almost all of the top 25 is barcode. So it's not too surprising that herO has at least one account like that. And honestly, and since most players use the ladder as practice for the majority of their games, that's why it is a common practice. Though again, usually you don't use that account in tournaments, but here we are. Twilight Council on the way immediately behind. I can't... Oof. He kissed the trophy. Wait, I don't know if he kissed the trophy. He definitely held the trophy, which really defied the situation. That is the most herO situation I've ever seen. Winning a best of 7 against Serral, which, again, single-digit number of people in the last 5 years could say that. It's like Raynor, Clem, and herO. That might be the end of the list. Like, maybe, I don't know if Maru has won a single best of 7 against herO. So, you could be forgiven for wanting to celebrate. And, from my understanding at the tournament, they didn't have a Korean translator. And herO's English is better than my Korean, but not by a lot. So that may have contributed a little to the confusion, but we're here now. I'm like, well, what has happened in the game? 5 drones dead. herO's batting 1,000 so far. Has not lost a single unit. Barely lost the shields even on the oracles. He's got the Templar Archives. I don't know if he's gone blink once. That's the build herO pioneered. Before, when everybody was just sitting in their base turtling, herO's like, no, you can go for a blink stalker timing. I think we had that once, but that was after the Glaive Adepts. Speaking of Adepts, the Shady Bunch had it across. As herO darting in and gonna get a couple more drone kills. He's in behind the mineral line, going for the Evo chamber, filing on out. And again, off to a strong start. Threatening with the Adept Shades, keeping Serral from being able to commit to more drones while building up his own economy. He did not start Storm. He did not start Storm, which is a big deal. Oh no. And he just warped in 1 High Templar, which makes me think oh no. Oh no. Oh, he's just making Archons, okay. If he was sitting around with the High Templar, he still hasn't started Storm. It's not like he doesn't... Okay. It's an Archon timing. Is it an Archon timing because he forgot to start Storm? Or is it an Archon timing because he's just shifting it a little bit, mixing it up? We'll see. Charge is done, though he hasn't... He has exactly 1 Zealots, which is not the biggest charge lot timing I've ever seen. Hydras are on the way, but all the upgrades still a ways off. Both Baneling speed and Hydra speed still not completed. The 4th base, Serral's up to 81 drones. which is quite an investment. Those drones on the run barely get away before the Archons can obliterate them. And behind it, a fleet beacon already. Though, still no storm from herO. He's gonna fight with the Archons. The charge lots are filing in. The Hydras. The Queen count is rather high. The lack of storm at all. There we are. Shades through. And the Adepts are already in the mineral line. Can easily kill some of these drones. Not gonna get to it. He's split the damage pretty well. 4 drones dead. Make that 5. Cleans up the Adepts. But herO unable to do very much damage to the 4th base. Now we'll lean back onto the storm. The fleet beacon is completed. The mothership can begin. Just assuming it's a mother. Indeed it is. And the oracles flouncing around. Oh, that's a lot of charge lots. That is several hatcheries worth of charge lots right there. Not something you can actually afford to lose at this stage. That's never stopped herO before. Slicing through the Zerglings. That +1 helping out a lot. Warp Prism off to the left side. Serral already reacting. But the Zealots, the Queens, gonna tank a lot of the damage. One gets taken out, but much better that than drones. Gonna slurp the rest back out. The charge lots, herO, where are you going? He's just in the mineral line. Hold position. The Banelings are a threat. Oh, this is a lot of Zealots to lose. 18 Zealots. He did actually get a similar amount of minerals between the Zerglings. The Queen comes back in for more. 6 drones dead. The 4th base coming online. A mothership is nearly done, and that could make all that. That actually is the most important part of this fight. Stasis on the way. Just targets it down. A single Templar. The 1 storm could make a huge difference. It makes a medium-sized one. The mothership, just a little bit too slow. And the hatchery, the Nexus under heavy fire. He might be able to save it with the cloak. He's not quite close enough for the mothership. And the cloaking could save the Nexus. The cloaking. There it is. 10 probes dead. The charge lots on the other side, slicing through the Queens. And again, the mothership saves the day. herO, as Serral did not anticipate it. The massive elephant hovering over the room. The Banelings will be taken out. The Stasis holding them. A single Baneling. One of the saddest things of the game. The charge lots pulled back. But the mothership saves the day. But we have to ask ourselves that question. Have you liked and subscribed? And at what cost? Oh my. The Martyr Prism. Taken down. The Oracles have somehow survived. The drones on the run. Serral down to 73 drones. Which, the charge lots, between the charge lots and building a bunch of static defense. Well, I guess he doesn't have too much. The charge lots have just sliced through. The Zerglings filter through the wall off. Meanwhile, Stasis over to the right side. And catches some of the Lings. The Tempest being added on. Another Stasis catches another chunk of Lings. This Nexus is looking very vulnerable. The Banelings potentially rolling through the mothership just slightly out of position. He's going to try to keep the Banelings near the Nexus. And could just target it down. There. Slashes back in. The mothership, and now herO's in an awkward... The heartbeat of economic damage is finally going to be trending heavily towards Serral. With that 4th base going down, herO is now mining out of the main. The natural's starting to dry up. Other bases are incredibly vulnerable. There's lurkers on the way. Serral's gotten a hive tech for, I think, the first time in this entire series, which is quite a thing. Well, in 2 series, really. But there we are. The mothership cloak. Is there detection? There is. The storms. Time warp. Still a dangerous army out of herO. He still has 1 or 2 more storms. The Archon's holding. The Oracle driven back. 24 probes dead. He's losing everything back at home, but the Immortals helping out a lot on the back line. Though, herO He doesn't have any detection. There are only 3 lurkers, but that might be enough to finally whittle this army down. The mothership, the Archons are still powering through, the Immortals behind. But, well, the mothership has 21 kills, 23 kills and counting. The mothership itself could be the deadliest choice, but the lurkers, he has nothing. He can't see the lurkers. He can't attack them. There's no observer, there's literally no detection. The Hydras are closing in. The mothership could be targeted. Serral, I think much like game 1 of the initial series. Oh no, the Viper! Will die. Serral just kind of, when the smoke clears, is incredibly far ahead. A mothership sniped out of the sky, left alone, abandoned. And there's no way to stop the lurkers. Despite everything, herO still putting himself into a position with winning potential. But he just couldn't make it kinetic for once. But of course, fighting to the bitter end. But I do believe this is indeed the end. He'll take out the hatchery, but the storms, well, the Hydra's wading through them. Yet another storm. Still so dangerous. A few banelings. The charge lots will warp in. And that's it. GG! Serral strikes back and takes game 1 of Series 2. And that puts him on tournament point. herO, I think, a little bit tilted. Though he recovered. And still found his way into a very dangerous... If he had detection for the lurkers, but the oracles were sniped off, I don't think he noticed for far too long as well. Is the issue at the end of the day. By the time he realized he needed detection, it was way too late. If he had another oracle on the way, if he was able to power through before Serral refilled. But herO now 2 games away still from celebrating yet again. Serral, 1 game from celebrating the first time. God, herO. But game number 2, give or take. Sanctuary. Another map we have yet to see throughout the entire... I don't know if they have independent map pools or if they just decided to play on entirely different maps. Then again, these maps may have showed up later in the series if Serral could have taken more games. That is the awkward part, I think, of the reset matches is... At some point, when you're down 2 or 3, do you just say, whatever, we'll play for the best of 3? Obviously, you don't want that to happen. But sometimes... And I believe Serral said in an interview afterwards, he was kind of confused a little bit when herO started celebrating. Like, respective of how the next series went, because he knew we had this best of 3. So, it would be weird to celebrate before it, especially to pick up the trophy. But there was a moment where he had to second guess, like, but then you remember, oh no. Oh, herO. The probe, once again, tantalizing the drones. Laser tonguing those minerals, trying to convince the minerals. So, the minerals don't care who's grabbing at them, okay? They just like the attention. And when they get that attention, they let everyone else know. They say, I'm taken. No matter what happens. Like, at that moment, the minerals will tell any drone or probe coming nearby, go find somewhere else. So that's why you see Serral doing the 1800 APM holding down the gather key micro. So that way he convinces the drones that probe is super flaky and not actually going to mine those minerals, all right? It's not going to commit. It's not going to put a ring on it. It's just here to flirt. And typical Protoss, spending half your time flirting and half your time celebrating your day. But If it was anyone else, it would seem like a power move. But it's herO. His Forrest Gumpian style of Protoss sometimes leads him astray. But sometimes, well, more times, not so much. You're like, what even happened for herO to become stronger on this patch? Well, one, I think he just kind of ironed out his style. And two, while it's not new, the changes to energy recharge, I think, helped out a lot of Protoss, where the cooldown was reduced, even though the effectiveness was reduced. Energy recharge used to do 100 energy every 60 seconds. You could use it. Whereas in this patch, it's 50 energy every 45 seconds, which is less energy in total, but has more utility. Because every 45 seconds, which just so happens to be a little bit more than the build time of an Oracle, you can recharge another unit. So, that definitely favors the style of playing with very minimal units to maximal effect. Maximum effect? I like maximal more. A single Zergling gonna kill a probe and then get in for the full scout. The Oracle was not recharged. Of course, you still have to manage your energy on the Nexus. That is still a relevant point, as it costs 50 energy to transfer that energy to a unit or a shield battery. The Oracle, he's building a spore on the edge of the creep in between the two queens. herO comes in. He's going to try to burn through the mineral line. Gets 2 drones. Gets into the orange as the prophecy foretold. You're looking for that 3rd Nexus. And just poking across. What's it going to be? The Oracle gliding in? Don't be weird. I don't know. Moracle's on the way. Couple more drones. Oh no, a miscue. Get off my creep! And Brenda, oh my god. You see? Blew her lungs out. I think that was the Oracle, Susan. No. No. I know what I'm talking... Shut up, Lucille. Sorry. And a Baneling nest on the way. Serral anticipating the heavy adept follow-up. Knocking out even one of the Oracles hamstrings this pretty significantly. Though, still 2 of them overhead, covering the Zerglings. herO adding Blink in +1 for, I believe, the first time throughout any of these series. The most classic build that he saved to the very last. The most stable and predictable. But there's a reason for that. Which is, Blink in +1 can deal with everything. Again, not necessarily well, but you can put on pressure. It covers for potentially your Storm. It is, if you control it incredibly well, a potentially game-ending timing. But is usually used to keep the pressure on and limit the Zerg economy until you get higher tech. Unfortunately, herO, the one getting his economy limited more often here. Though a couple of depths in the natural. Will slip through the drones, are pulled citizens arrest. Gonna end up with 4 kills and counting. That Adept just refuses to die, sauntering through the mineral line. On top of the drone, barely dodges into a spore. Gonna go for maybe 1 more. 5 drones dead. But wait, there's more. The Adepts, they don't stop coming. They don't stop coming. The Shade threatens. Meanwhile, Banelings! Only 3 probes. Could have been much worse. Serral trying to slip in while herO's looking the other way and almost succeeds. The Adept still threatening. Blink Stalkers headed across. The Oracles. There's nothing protecting this mineral line at all. But the Oracles are here to protect the Stalkers. +1 attack done. Melee and Protoss ground weapons. So gonna even things out. The Zerglings with +1 melee, a real threat to those Stalkers. Stasis at the back. Serral knows it's a threat, that's why he's not diving on the Stalkers themselves. The Zergling's actually looking for a counterattack. Might be able to kill off a Queen. Transfuse comes through just for now. The Zerglings, stasis triggered. But the Blink Stalkers in an awkward position. Another stasis targeted down. The Oracles don't have much energy left over. There's one more stasis. He's just gonna... Well, an awkward one here. A stasis point blank. Yet another stasis. And, well, a fleet. You can't just go, well, he's going to do it again. Yeah, sure, that's a great fleet beacon placement. Gonna wall off with a fleet beacon. He'll never expect it. Oracles striding ahead. This is just not enough units at all. The Stalkers will recall before the Zerglings can set their sights on it. May lose one. The rest of the Stalkers going to dodge away. And sure, slap the Templar Archives down, moving your screen. The Oracle, Tokyo drifting. Neo-Tokyo drifting right now. And Serral. The door is wide open. Serral, 76 draw. The Oracle knocked out of the sky. What is going on? I think that's just an animation glitch, but it is amazing. I love it. Mothership is on the way. I do love how herO takes like 54 different paths, but he always ends up near the same place. The Templar Archives out in front blinks over, gets a few more Zerglings. A single Zergling almost takes out a Stalker. The Stalkers are quite poor against Mass Zergling. Serral had 40 supply. He's got 80 drones. And very, very notably, again, herO is delaying Storm. I'm not going to say forgetting or skipping, because if a game goes on long enough, eventually you get Storm no matter what. But instead, opting for the Archons as opposed to the Storm itself. Which, deja vu, we've just been in this place before. herO with no Storm, and Serral with Hydra Ling Bane. The Oracle, what is going on over there? Wild. A carrier? All right, get your bingo cards out. You thought we were done checking things off, but no. But that's so many Hydras. Without Storm. Wait, there's 25 Hydras. That is too many. That's a... The Oracle? I have no idea. Well, looks like Serral gonna remove it for us. The Mothership may be done. He's chasing the army to the ends of the Earth, and there's not that much more Earth to find the end of. Recall should be available. There's also the mass recall from the Mothership. The charge lot's coming to the wrong side. Recall to, what, the third base? No, the natural. herO is flailing. He doesn't have Storm. He's got a single carrier, which is just simply not enough. The Time Warp is good, but there's no splash damage behind it. An Archon getting pushed into the fray. The Mothership gliding all about. Honestly, this is about as good as a fight as you're ever gonna get. But herO's stuck with a much more conventional army. The Mothership tanks a lot, but not forever. The Archon's exposed. The Nexus torn asunder. And herO, I can't help but feel, had already celebrated the taste of victory. And that really hurt his mindset, trying to achieve a more permanent one. As 2 games in a row, delaying the Storm, which carried him to a 4-1 victory in the first set. And Serral, the finisher, plays to the very end. And despite losing 4 games, he only needs to win 2. GGWP. And now Serral can lift a trophy. I don't think we have a clip of that, right, Jimmy? We've seen it too many times? Hey, I don't know. But Serral, with a decisive 2-0. herO left with 0. And to be clear, because Serral came through the winner's bracket, including beating herO, I believe 3-1 or 3-0 in the playoffs earlier on, is why... Jimmy! We're kind of having a weird day out here, but... is why he had that advantage. Though I would like to take this time to suggest best of 9 with a 1-game advantage in the future. But congratulations to Serral, the true maestro of the game. Wasn't able to claim the first tournament, but Maestros the game 2 goes to the finisher. herO giving us the most hero possible finals. Raising the trophy, losing the tournament, but giving us so many good games. And if you enjoyed and you got the means of motivation, be also check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. Please for now. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out this video. Jimmy picked it out just for you. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons, bringing in the extra minerals. Big Jake and Devin Door, Kate, Crazy Mouse, Mario Soup. Glad y'all still enjoy. And thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Hope I made your day at least a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.